There is something truly wonderful about stepping into your garden and snipping a few fresh mint leaves. The invigorating aroma that fills the air is a simple pleasure, a sign of a thriving, useful plant. Mint is one of the most rewarding herbs for any home gardener, whether you have a sprawling backyard or a small sunny windowsill. Its vigorous growth and refreshing flavor make it a favorite for culinary creations, from classic mojitos to soothing herbal teas. It is a plant that gives back generously, often providing more than you could ever possibly need with just a little bit of care and attention. This resilience is what makes it so perfect for beginners who are just starting their gardening journey. The beauty of mint lies in its simplicity and its versatility. It asks for so little but offers so much in return. Imagine garnishing a summer fruit salad with a sprig of freshly picked spearmint, or adding a hint of peppermint to your homemade lemonade on a warm afternoon. These are the moments that make gardening so fulfilling. The plant itself is lovely, with its textured green leaves and, in some varieties, delicate flowers that attract beneficial pollinators to your garden. Many gardeners, however, share a common concern when it comes to this prolific herb: its tendency to spread. This reputation is well earned, as mint is an enthusiastic grower with ambitious roots. But this should not deter you from welcoming it into your home. With a few simple strategies and a little bit of planning, you can easily manage its growth and enjoy all of its benefits without any of the worry. The world of mint is surprisingly diverse, many varieties to explore, each with unique flavor and aroma. Spearmint. Milder, sweeter flavor, great for savory dishes, fruit salads. Mint juleps. Peppermint. Stronger, menthol-forward flavor, ideal for teas. Mint prefers morning sun, partial afternoon shade, but intense afternoon heat can scorch leaves. Ideal, east side of the house for gentle morning light. Consider the soil. Mint prefers rich soil, moist soil. Well-draining soil, amend with good quality compost. For containers, use a high-quality potting mix. Look for organic matter like peat moss. Ensure good drainage. Mint doesn't like roots in standing water. Think about accessibility and containment from the start. Plant where you can easily harvest. One of the most important decisions you will make when growing mint is whether to plant it in a container or directly into a garden bed. For most gardeners, especially beginners, growing mint in a container is the recommended method. This is the simplest and most effective way to control its spread. Select a pot that is at least 12 inches wide and deep to give the roots enough room to grow. A larger pot will also hold more soil, which means it will not dry out as quickly on a hot day. Make sure the container has plenty of drainage holes at the bottom. Without proper drainage, water can accumulate, leading to root rot, which is one of the few things that can truly harm a mint plant. Terracotta pots are a beautiful choice, but they can dry out quickly. Plastic pots are better at retaining moisture. Planting mint directly in a garden bed can be done, but it requires careful planning and management. The main advantage is that the plant has unlimited space for its roots to seek out water and nutrients, often resulting in a larger, more robust plant. However, this is also its biggest disadvantage. Without any form of containment, mint will send out its runners in all directions. If you are committed to this method, you must install a barrier around the plant at the time of planting. If you choose to plant in a garden bed, it is best to dedicate an entire section to the mint or a large pot sunk into the ground, leaving about 2 inches of the rim above the soil level to block surface runners. Whether you are starting with a small plant from a nursery or a cutting from a friend, the process of planting mint is quite simple. Gently remove the plant by turning the pot upside down and tapping the bottom. You may see roots tightly wound in a circle, root bound. Gently tease the roots apart with your fingers to encourage outward growth. Next, prepare your container. Fill your pot with good quality potting mix, leaving a few inches at the top. Dig a hole about twice as wide as the root ball and as deep. Place the mint in the center of the pot or hole, making sure the top of the root ball is level with surrounding soil. Backfill the hole with soil. Gently firm the soil to remove large air pockets around the roots. Fill to the base of the plant, leaving about an inch of headspace. Finally, give your mint a thorough watering. Water deeply until you see water running from the drainage holes. This settles soil around the roots and helps recovery after transplanting. This initial care helps mint establish a strong, healthy root system for vigorous growth. Caring for a mint plant is, honestly, wonderfully straightforward. The most important aspect of its daily care is watering. Mint loves moisture and thrives in soil kept consistently damp. Insert your finger about an inch deep into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. When you do water, Do it deeply, so water soaks through the root ball. For container plants, water until you see it drain from the bottom holes. That makes sure all the roots, not just the top ones, get wet. Avoid overwatering. It can cause root rot. Mint isn't very hungry. If planted in rich, compost-amended soil or a good quality potting mix, it may not need feeding for months. For containers, feed lightly every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season. Use a balanced liquid fertilizer diluted to half strength. Provide good air circulation. Airflow keeps leaves dry and prevents fungal issues. Every few years, container mint can become root-bound. Repot into a larger container, cut the root ball into sections. The single most common challenge with growing mint is managing its incredible vigor. Mint spreads primarily through underground stems called rhizomes. These runners travel horizontally just below the soil surface, sending up new shoots along the way. Before you know it, a single, polite-looking plant. The most effective way to prevent this. The walls of the pot act as an impenetrable fortress, keeping the rhizomes contained. This is the simplest and most foolproof method. If you desire the look of mint growing directly in your garden, choose a large plastic pot, at least 5 gallons in size, and drill several drainage holes in the bottom, and then sink the entire pot into your garden bed, leaving about 2 inches of the rim exposed above the soil line. This upper rim is very important. The mint will look like it is part of the garden bed, but its roots will be safely confined within the buried pot. For those who have already planted mint in the ground without a barrier, you must be proactive about removing any new shoots that appear outside the designated mint area. You can also use a spade about 10 to 12 inches deep. Another important containment strategy involves managing the plant's flowers. They produce seeds that can spread and germinate elsewhere in your garden. To prevent this, it is a good idea to pinch off the flower buds as soon as they appear. Even a hardy plant like mint can encounter a few problems from time to time. One common pest you might see is the aphid. These are tiny, pear-shaped insects. They cluster on the undersides of leaves. An infestation can cause leaves to curl and yellow. Often you can spray them off with a strong jet of water from your hose. For persistent infestations, use a mild dish soap spray. Be sure to spray the undersides of leaves where aphids hide. Another issue in damp or humid conditions is powdery mildew. This fungal disease appears as a white, dusty coating on leaves. It thrives where air circulation is poor. Prevent it by giving mint enough space to breathe. Sometimes mint leaves turn yellow. If lower leaves are yellow and soil is constantly wet, it may be overwatering and root rot. Allow soil to dry more between waterings. Yellowing can also be a nutrient deficiency, especially nitrogen. Finally, overgrowth is a problem if unmanaged. Dense, woody centers produce fewer tender leaves. Don't be afraid to be aggressive with harvesting and pruning. Harvesting mint is a delightful task, and the best part is that the more you harvest, the more the plant will grow. Regular picking encourages the plant to become bushier and produce more tender leaves. You can begin harvesting as soon as the plant is a few inches tall and has several sets of leaves. For a small amount of mint, simply pinch off a few leaves with your fingers as needed. If you require a larger quantity for a recipe, it is better to harvest by cutting the stems. Use clean scissors or pruning shears to snip a stem just above a set of 2 leaves. 2 new stems will then grow from that point, making your plant fuller and more productive. The ideal time of day to harvest mint is in the morning, just after the dew has dried but before the sun becomes too hot. This is when the essential oils in the leaves are at their most concentrated. When you harvest, try to take from the top parts of the plant. This is known as pinching back. By regularly cutting the taller stems, you encourage the plant to branch out from the sides, creating a much more compact and attractive shape. At least once or twice during the growing season, it is a good idea to give your mint a more significant haircut. Cut all the stems back by about half their length, but the mint will respond with a vigorous burst of new, tender growth. As autumn approaches and the weather cools, before the first hard frost, you can give the plant one final hard prune. If your mint is in a container in a cold climate, you can move it to a sheltered location. In the spring, as the weather warms,